If you like what I do, consider joining my channel or donating to my coffee. Links in the description. Pixel art gets a lot of love in the Metroidvania world, and for good reason. But what happens when studios ditch the grid and go fully fluid? When they put the pixels down and pick up the paintbrush. You get this, the top 10 most beautiful hand-drawn Metroidvanias. A celebration of lush brushstrokes, painterly animations, and expressive visuals that make your screen feel like a living canvas. Now, before we dive in, let me be crystal clear. This list is completely subjective. It's not based on gameplay, story, soundtrack, or level design, just how pretty I think the game looks. But before we get started, I want to shout out a couple of honorable mentions that didn't quite make the list, but deserve a quick nod. Dust and Elysian Tale is absolutely gorgeous, with sweeping environments and some of the smoothest 2D animation around. But for me, the character designs, aside from the delightfully chaotic gremlin that is Fidget, just feel a bit too flat and generic. Still, props where it's due. The visual talent here is undeniable. Okay, this one's tough. I respect the absolute artistry behind Ultros. The surrealist, hyper-saturated alien style is incredibly bold and unique. But I just personally do not like looking at this game. It's like someone spilled glow stick fluid on a Salvador Dali painting. Some people look at it and love it. I look at it and need an Advil. Alright, let's get to the real list. Hey, I'm the Metroidvania Guru, and this is my top 10 most beautiful hand-drawn Metroidvanias.
Number 10.
If Sekiro and Hollow Knight had an animated child raised on Taoist philosophy and Kung Fu, you'd get Nine Souls. This game radiates style with its self-described Dao punk aesthetic, a fusion of ancient Eastern motifs and futuristic sci-fi tech that you don't see every day. And wow, does it look incredible. From the ornate temples etched with glowing circuitry to the flowing robes, Nine Souls is an artistic powerhouse. The game's cutscenes deserve special praise. They're presented like panels from a graphic novel, bursting with dynamic poses and dramatic flair. It gives the narrative an edge and energy that sticks with you between fights. And let's talk animation. Every slash, dodge, and parry is crisp and expressive, giving combat a visual rhythm that feels just as good as it looks. Nine Souls isn't just a treat for twitchy fingers, it's a feast for the eyes.
Number 9.
If nightmares could be painted in ink, Void Rot would be the result. This game bathes every frame in a shadowy, otherworldly aesthetic that leans hard into the grotesque and beautiful. Thick, dark outlines give characters and environments a graphic, almost comic book-like edge, making everything pop, even in the gloom. But it's not just the line work that grabs you, it's the vibe. There's a pervading darkness that seeps into every corner of the world, setting a mood that's equal parts eerie and enchanting. Every corridor feels like it's holding its breath, waiting for something to crawl out of it. And more than likely, something will. And let me tell you, the enemies and boss designs are wildly creative. Twisted, surreal, and just unsettling enough to make you squirm. These aren't just monsters, they're moving pieces of visual, horrific art. Void Rot doesn't aim for bright colors or flashiness. It digs its claws into you with atmosphere, tone, and visual tension. And it doesn't let go.
Number 8.
Cookie Cutter doesn't just break the mold, it shatters it with a flying V guitar and lights the pieces on fire. This game is punk as f***, with attitude baked into every frame. From the explosive color palette to the grungy industrial environments, it's a visual slap to the face. And I mean that in the best way. What really sets Cookie Cutter apart though are its animations. They're fluid, fierce, and ferocious. Every move Cherry makes feels weighty and wild, but it's those brutal finishers that steal the show. When she finishes off enemies like she's the fourth Battletoad, it's a hand-drawn explosion of rage and style, equal parts grotesque and glorious. The game never slows down, nor does it ever tone it down. It's bold, unapologetic, and dripping with anarchic style. It takes that raw punk aesthetic and pushes it to the max with visuals that practically scream from the screen. Cookie Cutter is not here to be subtle. It's here to dazzle, thrash, and destroy with some of the best animation in the genre.
Number 7.
You can't talk about beautiful hand-drawn Metroidvanias without mentioning Hollow Knight. Team Cherry didn't just create a game, they built an entire world that feels etched in ink and filled with soul and void. Every frame of Hollow Knight is lovingly crafted. From the dilapidated architecture of Hollow Nest to the glowing mushrooms of the fungal wastes, the game oozes atmosphere. The minimalist color palette, thick outlines, and subtle animations all work together to build a hauntingly beautiful world that feels ancient, forgotten, and alive all at once. Character designs are deceptively simple, yet packed with personality. And the animation? Smooth as silk. Whether you're slicing through enemies, clinging to walls, or narrowly dodging death, everything flows with an elegance. Hollow Knight's not flashy, it's not loud, but it is art. Somber, graceful, and drenched in mood. It's the kind of beauty that lingers with you long after the credits roll.
Number 6.
There's just something about the Ender series. Some kind of delicate beauty that doesn't shout, but whispers. Both Ender Lilies and Ender Magnolia are melancholic masterpieces. The environments feel like abandoned cathedrals swallowed by nature and sorrow. Gorgeous, ruined landscapes that are somehow both tragic and peaceful. Every step you take feels like you're walking through a painting that's falling apart at the edges. Lily and Lilac move with a soft, graceful fluidity that mirrors the emotional tone of the story. Attack animations can be weighty and fierce, but they never feel over the top. There's a restraint here, a quiet confidence in the art direction that doesn't need to scream to be noticed. And let's not forget the enemy and spirit designs. A blend of ethereal, grotesque, and sorrow. They're like reflections of a broken world, rendered with stunning detail. It's easy to get lost in the sadness of the Ender series, but that's where its beauty lies. A tender, gothic dreamscape that shows that even in ruin and desolation, there's grace and hope.
Number 5.
Visually, Bow Path of the Teal Lotus is like stepping into a Japanese folktale painted with an ink brush. Steeped in Japanese folklore, its hand-drawn environments pulse with myth and mystery. Every backdrop looks like a scroll come to life, rich with ornate temples, floating lanterns, sacred mountains, and swirling cherry blossoms. It's the kind of game where you pause just to admire the screen. Bow oozes style and polish with a color palette that's both vibrant and serene, with a level of artistic confidence that feels rare even among hand-drawn indies. Bow Path of the Teal Lotus isn't just pretty, it's a love letter to a culture, an art form, and a genre.
Number 4.
Biomorph's visuals are as weird as they are wonderful. You've got this slick, hand-drawn art style that feels like a dark sci-fi comic book brought to life with bold lines and smooth animations. Environments range from having sleek, futuristic vibes to a ruined world overrun with nature. But where Biomorph really flexes its artistic muscle is in its enemy designs. Every creature you face has a unique silhouette and visual personality. And the kicker? You can absorb and transform into all of them. This mechanic not only feeds into gameplay, but it's a showcase for the game's animation chops. There's a beautiful tension in Biomorph's look, being cutesy and simplistic like a child's cartoon, while also dealing with harsh concepts like genocide. It's a bold contrast that suits the game well.
Number 3.
Biogun is an absolute visual trip. Set in a cartoonishly rendered biological world inside of a dog, Biogun stands out with a bold, Saturday morning cartoon meets microscopic adventure aesthetic that would feel right at home on an episode of the Magic School Bus. Everything's hand-drawn with sharp outlines, Portraits and animations are super expressive, and the game's vibrant palette pops off the screen. But don't let its bubbly charm fool you. This game's packed with artistic detail. The environments, though rooted in internal biology, are wildly imaginative. From a train system that acts as the body's veins, to a club thumping to a DJ's beats that keeps the heart pumping, every level has its own flavor, texture, and weirdly adorable grossness, such as the bladder that suitably has large pools of urine to navigate through. Enemies are just as inventive, walking a fine line between ew and aw, and the animations bring them all to squishy, slippery life. And of course, the game's protagonist Beck, a tiny vaccine with some bacon flavoring, moves with snappy, expressive animations that makes it hard not to love the little guy.
Number 2.
There's hand-drawn excellence, and then there's Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. This game also looks like a Saturday morning cartoon, but with a AAA budget. Every character, every transformation, every enemy oozes personality thanks to incredibly smooth, vibrant animations. The developers didn't just draw their characters, they brought them to life with a level of expressiveness that rivals full-blown animated films. The environments are just as impressive. From sun-drenched beaches to lava-filled caverns to lush, enchanted forests, each area bursts with rich color, detail, and spectacular lighting. It's the kind of game where you'll pause just to admire the background for a little bit. And let's not forget the polish. Everything moves with the kind of buttery fluidity that screams handcrafted, frame-by-frame love. Even the UI elements and effects have that extra layer of attention, making the entire experience feel cohesive and premium.
Number 1.
Few Metroidvanias have ever looked as flat-out gorgeous as Afterimage. This game isn't just a visual treat, it's a whole banquet. With its painterly backgrounds, delicate line work, and mesmerizing use of color, Afterimage feels like it belongs hung up in a gallery. From misty forests bathed in sunlight to a sprawling upside-down tower, every biome is a new visual feast that invites you to stop and soak it all in. The sheer variety in environments is staggering, and each biome manages to maintain a distinct artistic identity without ever feeling disjointed. It's all unified by a consistent aesthetic that feels both fantastical and dreamlike. And let's talk animations. The character movement is fluid, attacks have satisfying flair, and enemy designs are both whimsical and imposing. It's not just that Afterimage looks good, it's that it never stops looking good. Every screen, every frame, every moment is packed with elegance, attention to detail, and so much creativity. When it comes to sheer, jaw-dropping beauty, this game sets the gold standard for hand-drawn Metroidvanias. And that's why it's my number 1 most beautiful hand-drawn Metroidvania. But what do you think? Did I miss any of your favorites? Drop a comment and let me know what you think about these games and their art styles. And remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to stay up to date with all things Metroidvania. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later, nerds.